Good evening, brothers and sisters. Good evening, Eastern Youth Network. Good evening, fellow Biafrans out there. I know we are not terrorists, but we are Biafrans. I don't need to belong to IPOB as a member to be called a Biafran citizen. I have come again with another wonderful episode. I want you to pay attention to this message. It has a lot to teach you. This is Eastern Youth Network, and we are discussing liberty. We have come to the second phase of our movement, and our first approach is liberty. In the process of liberty, it is a liberated people that are prosperous. People prosper because they have liberty. Now, I was investigating the foundation of the prosperity of our fathers, because I know they prospered. They were industries. At least if there is no industry I can remember the palm raffia industry. That is why the Ude was established to produce the raffia palm wine across the Imo region. That is the Udengwo. They cut across Abia, Imo, Akwa Ibom, Calabar. The Ude cut across. That is Udengwo. And they process this palm wine onto a gin, a dry gin, and it was the best gin in the world. I also know of oil production because they produce the largest oil both in the carnal nature or in the consumable nature of oil. They produce the largest, and they have an industry towards that. I also know about other minerals and other wealth that are created by our parents out of the act of their own industry. And I discovered that was really the foundation, the real foundation of prosperity is home industry and home manufacturing. Let me take it one by one. Home industry and home manufacturing. There are things to be done from the home, and they still turn to wealth. That is home industry, home manufacturing. Okay, I cut across in my research over the wealth of our fathers, over the foundation of their prosperity, when I begin to look into home industry and manufacturing. I picked up a wood that is as useless as not even a firewood that's supposed to rot on the ground, which happened to be the bamboo tree of this size. I gave a little girl assignment. So I want to dash him this wood. He said, what will she be doing with this rubbish? I said, yes, it's a rubbish. You are correct. But I want to give you assignment with this rubbish. I gave assignment that this would be used so that it could be useful for money. And I asked him to pieces it, and I gave him a size of a toothpick to pieces the wood. And that wood that is nothing gave us a pack of toothpicks, sold 100 naira, and a pack is 12. Wealth creation, home industry, home manufacturing. We never went to the machines to produce it. It is a handmade, a careful act to produce these things to be useful when it's not useful. As a piece of wood, it's nothing. But when an act of industry has been applied to it, it's worth $5. Home industry. Permanently, our communities prospers in different talent and productivity. I also discovered that a line of people are brassmiths. They turn an iron of this nature that is nothing into millions. Because a piece of iron of this nature means nothing to you. But when sliced when pieces into stringes can turn to $1 million worth. That is iron productivity. That was the source of their wealth. We ought to cooperate together so that we can have the profit of our business among ourselves instead of giving it to the strangers. There is honor in labor. This is a word of wisdom. When I boarded my flight yesterday to Port Harcourt, I discovered a thing with a young lady whom I travel with, and she was asking me of an assistance of job, looking for job, and I asked him, but with you is an iPhone, why will you be looking for job? And she said she has the iPhone, it's not to answer call and chat. You see, she did not know the industrial nature of the iPhone 8 Plus that she is carrying. I wept for our young ladies. When the flight landed, I called her, young lady, it is time you learn productivity. So let us teach our children productivity. And after talking to this young lady, I think she had a repentant heart before my taxi picked me out of the airport last night and take me home. I want to tell you how our people have lost the sight of industry and productivity at home. Now, how do we transform this productivity into the mirror world of today? The mirror world is the phone that we are using. That is a mirror world. That is the world that is coming before us tomorrow. How can we transform this act of industry, which is the real foundation of prosperity, into effect? That is what the Eastern nation stands for. That is why I'm making this video, to enlighten you and broaden your mind towards what is expected in the environment that we are into in a short period of time. Okay, how did we lose sight of this act of industry? How do we lose sight of this home industry? How do we lose sight of this manufacturing ability of our fathers? Number one, the British came, and what they did was to shut down our gin production industry and introduce their own London gin. Our gin became illicit gin. The gin became in use after Nigerian independence in 1960. Our gin is no longer illicit. They shut down the palm wine production company because that is the source of the gin that is being shipped the whole Africa. So in as much as it is illicit, that factory that harbors thousands and maintains the Ude Ngwo across Africa was shut down, and the Ude Ngwo become less value in the environment, and everybody at each region filter it and do it as it pleases them. The government don't pay attention towards that wealth creation that our fathers left. Okay, well, they did not stop at that. They begin to ban every local production made by our people. That is, indigenous productions was banned. The government policies now ban indigenous production. For example, our brassmith produce knife, machetes, farming tools that we can use to farm. Our brassmith produce them. But today we don't even have brassmith to produce farming tools any longer in our environment. So that part of home industry or home manufacturing has been killed by the policy of the system of government of Nigeria, which is killing trade, which is crippling growth, and which is killing the talent of our young youth. They turn them into fraudsters because the government itself is a fraudster. So the youth of the government that is a fraudster become fraudsters. So all of us are now fraudsters because the government is a terrorist government. All of us become terrorists. The act of industry is no longer supported. The flame of productivity is no longer fuel. We became a people running independently on our own without direction. What a hopeless generation. They did not stop at that. I want to tell you the steps that it took us until they were able to bring Africa to this subjected state of today that we are. This is the state that the white man want to keep Africa. They never want Africa to grow. They want to keep Africa in a impoverished state. And who is that people in Africa? It is the Igbo man. It is the East. In as much as the East is impoverished, Africa will remain in the bondage of darkness. That is why the Igbo man is a life wire of the existence of the black race. That is why Igbo man take it upon himself as a wheel on his shoulder to push along towards the freedom and total liberty of the black race. This is the message. So, Professor Ibe, I want to prophesy to you as my colleague that I see you within the corridors of power. And I see you among the leaders, and I feel that one day you might have the interest to flag off for leadership. And I think the Lord will sustain you, because I think I see you a great leader. But will you support the act of industry? Will you support the act of home manufacturing? That is when, if we begin to look into the National Reconciliation Program, you find out that our environment needs to be allowed for the youth to exercise the God-given ability in them, in practice, in learning, and in creativity. This is what Eastern Youth Network stands for. You see, it is a network to liberate our mind from this mental slavery and so-called supremacists of the jihadists and the white and Fulani rubbish. Permit me to say that the only honor we will have in labor is to see that the labor is instituted by policy, government allowing brassmith to produce gun. Okay, here in Nigeria, I monitored a case when I was 18 years old in Mbise. A brass meat was invaded by the Nigerian police, and all machines that he uses to work were carted away by the same police force. And to date, as at the time I monitored that matter, those machineries have not been returned to the brassmith, and that brassmith workshop was closed down until the man died with that great talent and knowledge of him that is in him. And when I asked for that in my own personal investigations and research, I found that the government is afraid of any threat or afraid of a people of this nature to possess such ability. That is degradation. That is to say that they do not wish the environment any growth or success whatsoever. That is to say that the government are hypocrites. Truly, they are terrorist organization, because if they can stop the creativity of man talent and say in their policy it is an act of terror, that is to say the human development in its entirety is an act of terror. Because they who possesses the power of the government cannot develop themselves, neither have any idea whatsoever of what development is. So to you who have the idea and the power and also can make the move, you are a terrorist. This is the reason why we cannot continue to be called one people. The language of one Nigeria is dead. I told you we are expecting a Nigeria of 3 presidents towards a total reconciliation of the damages that has been made towards a peaceful resolution to glory. That is what we are expecting. And I know one day it will come before us. I told you that Nigerian government will make the count 15 count charge, but we still give them time to see if they can come up to 21 count charge. We will still carry it. We are not in a hurry. We will follow the slow nature of it. We will follow it step by step. We will follow it line by line. We will follow it precept by precept until every doctrine, until every dictate, until every crooked path is made straight. We will continue to move forward. We will continue to grow in strength. We will continue to spread our wings higher above every other land of element that eye can behold. We are dealing with the metamorphosis of man's intelligence. And as far as the nature is concerned, the supremacies of that intellectuals in man is found with the Igbo man. So with that, we can change the diplomatic language of today's world into a better and perfect future. This is my message to you, and I tell you to continue in research as we build a better tomorrow. Eastern Youth Network is opening a channel for 5,000 youth to be engaged to work in all the states of the Eastern region. 5,000 youth each state. 5,000 youth each state. Whomso candidates of presidency that promise you this, that will handle this and make it come to fulfillment, should be the candidate that will represent the East. This is my message to you. I wish you well. I will want to say that the Eastern Youth Network is a movement, and we are not partisan to any threat or to any group. Rather, we are independent, only doing the duty as assigned by the great Elohim. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening to us this evening. Thank you for your time. Subscribe with us, share our message, like our message, comment on our messages. We want to hear from you so that we can improve our work to the betterment of the future. This I beseech of you in the name of God the Father, in the name of God the Son, in the name of God the Holy Spirit. Amen.